3, 2, 1.
Rome, we are assured, was not built in a day, but over the course of 24 hours across one hot and humid July weekend in 1965, Otis Redding put to tape what would soon be considered his definitive statement, the third of only 6 albums he would release in his lifetime, entitled Otis Blue. Let's check it. 16 songs in 24 hours in the can. Amazing. You know, the Beatles' Rubber Soul album, which followed that December, was a month in the making. Though both stand as apologies of that golden era of mid-60s simplicity, before studio inventiveness and technology was as crucial as the material, Otis Blue triumphs in capturing the immediacy of its creation and the energy that burned in that single session. Otis was the first superstar of Stax Records, whose Memphis sound is imbued on every record they released, but it was on his albums that the musicians truly coalesced when their autonomy was reined in under his glowing direction. And Otis Blue is the personification of the unity and family spirit that made that label so prolific and proficient, and couldn't have been made anywhere else. Let's take it back a bit. When the 21-year-old Otis Redding pulled up on the parking lot of Stax Studios in Memphis, in autumn of 1962 to be exact, no one was expecting that the company was about to find its voice. The attention of the assembled group of diverse Memphis musicians was fixed when they heard a tune that he'd written entitled These Arms of Mine. The record was to be a landmark both for Stax and for Otis. The song was a mournful ballad. It captured the beginnings of Otis's vocal style, conveying longing, desperate urgency, and emotional intensity. Otis was to emerge as Stax's biggest artist. It is ironic that the Memphis Soul label was built around the unique voice of a country boy from Georgia. In 1967, Otis had a clamorous reception in Britain as headline act on the Stax Volt Tour. In June of that year, he played the Monterey Pop Festival in front of what he christened as the Love Crowd. He also toured extensively on the West Coast during that summer of '67 and had been listening to a lot of rock music for a long time. He was very interested in the Beatles. He listened intensively to the Beatles' Sgt. Pepper album. This interest was to have an effect on his songwriting. This came to fruition in the song Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. So let's go back again to Otis Blue. That album, 16 songs in 24 hours. I mean, to this day, that album has not lost its potency. It is live and direct. It is so alive, it moves your feet. It pulls your heartstrings. It is pure soul, and at the very heart of it is one man who conceived the entire vision, Mr. Otis Redding. He was more than just a singer. He was a phenomenon. His friends and associates would have one word to describe him: genius. They would pause and reiterate the word with emphasis: genius. His instincts defined a completely new and individual genre, establishing his record label as the home of authentic soul, and kicked open the doors to the mainstream, carrying R&B to an international audience. He was the undisputed king of soul and was unchallenged for the title right up to his untimely death at the tender age of 26 in 1967. Now, Otis Redding's life holds a personal interest to me because nostalgically, his music was one of the first records that I received as a child from my dad. I remember Chuck Berry, Little Richard, and Otis Redding as being one of my first records that I ever received. So it holds a special interest to make this content for you. And I hope that everyone enjoys and go back and listen to the music of the great late Otis Redding. With that being said, thank you for watching and thank you for listening. My name is Gary Harrison, and you've been watching Sitting on the Blues with Otis Redding. Remember, stay humble and stay hungry. And as we do that, I'll catch you on the next one.